Alright, what is up guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be doing a game analysis style of video, taking a look at some of the cards from OP-06. A matchup from one of the first, if not the first, major championship from OP-06. This is from Miyagi. I do believe this is, like I said, I do believe this is the first of their championships over there in the East. Let's go ahead and dive into the game. It's going to be, this is the match for first place. Yamato versus Whitebeard. Yamato on the left here, Whitebeard on the right. And this is, like I said, this is for the championship. Whoever wins this wins the entire thing. Just to give you guys, you know, an understanding of what's going on here. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into this. And it's going to start off with the Yamato player going first. And it looks like we've got a 9-cost Zoro, a 4-cost, this is a new card. It's the, I believe it's Okiku, and it's a 4-cost 6K with no counter, but on KO, gain 1 life, right? The on KO, and I believe your opponent has to have 3 life or less, but the card's just absolutely incredible. And then there's the 1-cost Searcher Kami that he just used, and a 4-cost 5K Jinbei, okay? Very, very powerful. The Jinbei has a 4-cost 5K that has a 2,000 counter on it. Very, very powerful card. Okay? And if you have any question on any of these cards, don't be afraid to say something or say anything in the comment section below. So as usual, guys, I do have this on 2x speed, so I will be pausing and chat, you know, talking about it, excuse me, as plays come up and as things come up. And any questions y'all have on any of the new OP-06 cards, by all means, just hit, you know, hit us up in the comment section below. Okay, so now we're gonna have an EZO search, or was that EZO? I'm sorry. It looks like, yeah, it'll be an EZO search. And he's seeing a 4-cost Marco, a 6-cost Sanji, Makino, Searcher Nami, and Sanji. So he can only get the Marco here, right? If that was, in fact, an EZO search, and I believe it was. Yep. All the rest were Straw Hat Crew, and then I think Windmill Village randomly for Makino. Okay, and pass turn. Pretty quick game going on so far. So, gonna swing 8 at Newgate. Now, very smart. The Newgate player left 1 Dawn active for guard point. That's going to get him directly out of range into 9,000 power versus an 8K swing with a guard point. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And that's going to be the whole turn for Yamato. So a lot of people have been concerned about how Yamato is a double attack leader. And yes, it is concerning. I'm not going to lie to you. It is. You know, we'll see how the meta shapes up over the course of OP-06. But if you're playing smart, if you're building your deck properly, you should have ways to get around these large swings. Even if you do have to drop 2K counters out of hand early. You know, it is what it is, right? Or maybe there will be a strategy where you take the hit early, right? And then you go down fast. But in the case of Veteran Newgate, I would not recommend that, right? Because he loses a life every turn. So, okay. Guard points out of hand, and now it is the Newgate's turn. Going up to 4 Dawn. Let's take a look at the hands here. Unfortunately, it didn't show the hands at the beginning of this video where I started. He's got options at a 4-cost Marco, which is not really an option, right? Because a 4-cost Marco is very easy to KO if you don't have 2 Dawn or less. Or excuse me, 2 life or less. Because his effect does not kick on until you have 2 or less life. So let's see what he chooses to do here. These are 2 promo Luffys in the bottom here. These 2 other red cards. They're just the 5-cost 6K. It's not promo Luffy, excuse me. It's an alternate art Luffy. 5-cost, 6,000 power, attached to, and he becomes unblockable. It's just an alternate art. So we'll have to see what happens here. He's going to swing for 6 to start. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to pause it. I wouldn't be surprised if he loads up EZO here and just goes face with it. Yep, and he's going to go 6 more to face. And he does have another 2K in hand, another Jinbei, the 2K Jinbei. It looks like he's grabbing, and he actually let's pause it. Hang on, let me there we go. Let me pause this. He has Satori, Jinbei, and EZO. These are all 2K counters, and then he has a 4-cost Arlong and a 7-cost Hody Jones. Hody Jones is a 7-cost, 8,000 power rush character. On play, you trash the top card of your, or excuse me, you take the top card of your life, and you get to rest 2 of your opponent's characters. Very, very powerful finisher card. Okay, so let's see what happens. He's thinking about countering out, but then he put the card back. He's going to take it. So the Yamato is going to take it and gets a top deck Shirahoshi. Now, that is nice. Let's see if they show his hand. He got Nami, I think another Kami Searcher, and another Hody Jones, if I'm seeing this correctly. That was a very nice trigger to get off the top there with Shirahoshi. So let's see what he gets rid of. I think it's safe to get rid of one of his Hody Jones and the Kami. He gets rid of the Kami as well. That's interesting. Okay, and now he's going to pass the turn and goes up to 5 Dawn. So Yamato's on 5 Dawn now. Edward Newgate is completely tapped out. This would be a chance to try to get a double attack in with Banish, but it would only be for 9, right? Or excuse me, it'd only be for 8. So that's not exactly incredible. Kami's going to take out the Ezo. Easy trade there, obviously. Nothing special there. Swing for 7, or excuse me, 6, excuse me. Swing for 6 at leader. And honestly, right here, I think you just counter out with a... Okay, he's going to counter out with the Marco. That's interesting. Now, he does know... Look, I got to pause. Oh, wow. And then Arlong's going to come down. I'm going to explain that card in just a second for those who don't know what this does. It's interesting to discard the Marco. I would rather use it as a card that he has to tap down because it is very easy to tap down a 4-cost character in green, and especially in Yamato, like in this deck. Right? You're going to be able to tap it down with your Hody Jones or your Ezo, the 3-cost 2K counter. So I get not having a lot of stock in the Marco, but I think I would rather just get rid of the Nico Robin here personally. That's just my own personal thoughts on that. But again, let's see what happens. So back to Arlong. So now the Yamato player is going to follow up with a 4-cost 6K. It is 6,000 power, guys. Newgate is a 6,000 power leader. That's at a very strong breaking point in the game, right? This card has on play, trash a card from your hand, and then your opponent cannot attack with a leader or character this turn. Or excuse me, it might be a leader. Let me bring it up on my other screen here and bring it over. Just give me 1 second, guys. I apologize for not having this up already. Okay, Arlong. Excuse me. So here is the card right here. It is a 4-cost 6K, like I said. On play, you may trash 1 card from your hand. 1 card from your hand. Let me slow down, guys. Up to 1 of your opponent's rested leaders cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Very frustrating to deal with. So that means the Newgate will not get to put on pressure this turn with his leader's effect, and he has no cards on the board. Now, yes, Newgate does have a lot of, he's got 2 rushers in hand, so he can still swing if he really, really wants to. And he just got an ace, but what Dawn is he on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 Dawn, if I counted that correctly. So he will not have access to ace this turn. Whew, man, that Arlong slowing down the Newgate, I think that is a very, very powerful card. This Arlong right here, it's a 4-cost 6K. It does not have a counter, but that is very impressive. So he has to see his trash. Oh, that's a good... Let's see what card was trashed by Arlong real quick, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so he's going to tap 4, play Arlong, trashing the Nami that gives Banish to a character or leader for the turn. Okay, so now we're over to the Newgate's turn. He has 6 Dawn to play with. It looks like he's looking at the Luffy here, and I don't blame him. That seems good. And he's going to go 7K at the leader. And again, remember, he can't swing with Newgate this turn, the leader. So pass turn, and going to draw a card from the top of life. This is not a good position to be in. I think I would have left 1 Dawn active here for that. I would have just swung 6. It is what it is. And I think I'd have left 1 Dawn active for this Radical Beam. Now, looking at the other player's hand, looking at the Yamato's hand, he's got a Cracker in hand. He's got, what is it? It's a Hody Jones. We know a lot of this. Now he's got 2 Satoris. I didn't see when he got the other one. And I can't quite see what this card is. I think it's the 4-cost Okiku. Let me bring it up over here. I believe it is this card right here, guys. Let me bring it up for y'all. Excuse me. It's like Kikan. Here it is. Kikanojo. Okay, this is a 4-cost 6K as well that has on KO, if your opponent has 3 or less life cards, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Okay, and trigger, if your opponent has 3 or less life, play this card. So it looks like he was, I think that's what he got from the trigger, but Newgate still had 4 life. So let's take a look real quick. Okay, so he takes it. And it was. Okay, and the Newgate had 4 life, so he couldn't play it. That would have just been devastating, right? If he could have played that, that would have been... It's already devastating enough, but then it would have just been out of control, right? Okay, so let's see what happens here. The looking at the board state, looking at what's going on, I do think the Yamato is in a very favorable position. We'll have to see. You know, the game's not over yet. But just looking at how this deck is even made, I'm going to pause it. I'm sorry, guys. The 4-cost 6K Arlong and the 4-cost 6K Kikanojo that we just looked at, just incredibly powerful. Just incredibly powerful, guys. And I forgot to mention what the trigger was on Arlong, guys. I'm sorry, I didn't even look at it. Whoops, let me get off this. Go to green. Sorry, guys. The trigger on Arlong, like I said, I didn't even read it. It's trigger, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. So you have all these powerful triggers in the deck as well. So he's just going to play out the Kikanojo. I probably butchered that name. Let me find it one more time, guys. I think it's Kikanojo. And let me pause this because he's swinging for 8. Yeah, Kikanojo. And now he's going to swing for 8. Now let me back up a little bit and see where he's swinging at. I think he pointed at the Luffy. I could be wrong about that, but I believe he pointed at Luffy. So swing 8 at Luffy. Let's see. I would definitely protect, or well, I would protect to the best of my ability. Well, what's he doing? He arranged his Dawn. Okay, he hasn't done anything yet. He might just let it go, it looks like. But I would probably do my best to protect this card. Okay, and he does. So, and now he's going to take, now it's going to be 8 coming in, you know, to the face with double attack. And that's why I think I would have taken it, or I would have stopped it, however you want to say it. But I guess it ends up being about the same result. It was swing 8. One of these you got to block out of. Okay, so it goes 2K, 1K. Yeah, the Marco does not seem that great here, that's for sure. He gets a 3-cost Rush Zoro off the top. And the Newgate player did, of course. And this just does not seem good. He's losing character. He's hemorrhaging characters. He's hemorrhaging hand size. And the Yamato's board is completely unanswered. There's a 4-cost 6K that's going to gain a life if it gets KO'd. And then a 4-cost 6K in Arlong that no one cares if it gets KO'd. And then you've got Yamato swinging with double attack every single turn. I wonder if this is actually just a hard counter to Newgate. We'll have to see. Okay, he's grabbing 1 Dawn here. He's got, I think he has 7 Dawn, or excuse me, he has 8 Dawn this turn, I believe. 2, 5, yeah, he has 8 Dawn this turn, so he's going to swing 6. Where at? Is he swinging to face? Okay. Yeah, it looks like he swung at her, at face here. And, you know, 2K counters out. Does a Nami Searcher. Oh, did he whiff the Nami Search? That is unlucky. Unlucky here. Unfortunate. Okay, top 5. And yeah, I'm pretty sure he just whiffed the Nami Search. Man, that's unfortunate. It happens though, right? If you're going to run multiple different kinds of types and different searchers, that is the gamble you run, you know? Okay, and then he's going to drop a, he's going to drop the 5-cost 6K Rusher Luffy. And let's see where he's swinging at. I think he's just going everything face. I think he's saying, like, you know what? You're going to have to outrace me. Now, one thing I will say here as the Newgate player, I think he is going to be completely fine with taking life this turn. Because the idea is next turn, if he has to take 1 life this turn, he'll be fine with taking both life this turn. Because he'll lose the final one on his on the following turn anyway. You see what I'm saying? Sorry if that was confusing, but I think y'all know what I'm saying. If not, just ask in the comment section below. It's very common for the Newgate to take his final life, like from an attack, because it kind of eats up one of their attacks, and you're going to lose at the end of your turn anyway. Right, that's the logic there. So, okay, we're going to tap 6 here, or excuse me, 7. We're going to tap 7 here, and taps... Wow. So Hody Jones here can actually tap Dawn as well. I forgot about that, guys. Let me bring the card up so we can read it. This card right here, really terrifying art, by the way. Okay, this is the card. This is the standard art of the card. This is a 7-cost 8K. Rush, on play. Rest up to a total of 2 of your opponent's characters or Dawn cards. Then add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand. Okay, so you're going to add the card, you know, he's going to add the life to his hand. Let's see what he gets. He tapped down the Nami and the final remaining Dawn there, and he got another Kikanojo. Okay, unlucky, because that could have came into play it could have came into play active if it had been taken from the Newgate. Okay, and now he's gonna swing two at this Nami here. Okay, sure, you can have it. You know, that's he's thinking, but there is no. I feel like, is there really a decision here? Maybe you bluff, like you're gonna be able to. Well, it's not even a bluff. I was gonna say maybe he. Okay, let me pause for a second. I was gonna say maybe he would bluff there to say, okay, I'll just counter out with the Izo to make it seem like I'm gonna win next turn if you don't KO this character because you just lost a life. Who knows? And then if he had not swung with it, maybe he could have Makano'd and you know, pushed for lethal next turn. We'll have to see how this plays out here. Okay, so remember, with Yamato's effect, for those who don't know what Yamato does, the actual leader, she can move Dawn around to, let me move it over here. There we go. This is the parallel art version of Yamato. She has another effect, not just double attack, of activate main once per turn. If your opponent has 3 or less life cards, give up to 2 Rested Dawn cards to one of your characters. So this effect has not been used yet. So let's see what happens here. I'm sure he's going to do it here. Okay. I think he's thinking about it right now. Okay, swing 6 at Luffy. Oof. Yeah, I don't think there's any way you can let this Luffy go here. Because there is no other way to survive next, or to win next turn without him. At least that's my logic. But the other logic could be, okay, I'll let him KO my Luffy so I can draw these next 2 cards. Because look at this board, guys. A 4-cost 6K, a 4-cost 6K, the leader 5K obviously with double attack, and then a 7-cost 8K. There really is just no way out of this one. Like, you're just going to have to... Maybe he just has to let the Luffy go. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like he's going to let it go, which is horrible. And he only has 1K, 1K, 2K in hand because his Dawn has been tapped from the Radical Beam, which he did have. He left 1 Dawn active, which was well played, but the Hody Jones coming down tapped it or rested it, and now he can't use it to save his character. So I think he has to let it go here. Because this is a 6K attack, he'll have to use a 1K counter. He has 2 1K counters. Maybe you force him to go 2 attacks into the Luffy. But if you do that, you see what's going on. If he does allow that to happen, then he won't get to draw all his cards this turn from the attacks. Right? He'll just attack once and make him lose it for the other. Yeah. Okay, so you have to let it go here. Okay. I think you just swing 7 at leader now to force a 2K. But it won't force a 2K, by the way. Yeah, let me pause it. If I'm the Yamato player, you have to swing with Yamato here. Because if you swing with a Kikanojo or the 7-cost guy here, Hody Jones, all he has to do is take this 1 point here, and then your double attack is turned off. You cannot double attack through someone's last life for lethal, for those who don't know already. Okay, so yes, you have to swing Yamato here. He's thinking about it. Yep, that is the correct play. You have to do that. So this is going to be a 2K counter out. Because it is just for 7. Okay, he's thinking about it, but I don't know what for. There is no thought process here. Because now he just swings 7 with using the leader's effect to attach 2 Dawn, and you swing 8, and you take this as well because you're going to lose it next turn anyway. Very good. All right, so now let's see what he gets. He gets a Jozu off the top. This is basically it. You have to win here or the game is over, right? Because there is no world in which this, Whitebeard player can survive an 8K, a 6K, a 5K, a 6K. Like, it's just not realistic with 10 Dawn active. It's just not realistic at all. And what, our Whitebeard player doesn't know, but probably does know in the back of his mind, he's got an Izo. So he's going to be able to tap down my blocker if I have one. And he doesn't even have a blocker anyway, so it just is what it is. This is the situation where, okay, you'd have to do math here. We got to do math real quick, guys. He has a 4K counter in Radical Beam. He has a 3K counter in Guard Point. He has a 2K counter in Jozu, and then 2 1K counters, one in Robin and one in Ezo. I don't think he survives this, you know, just flat out, without somehow KOing some kind of character on his opponent's side of the board. And I think he realistically has to KO like 2 of them. But, again, now let's look at the Yamato's hand. He has a 2K counter Ezo, a 2K counter Jinbei, and a 2K... excuse me, no, I thought that was Satori. That's not Satori. That's a 4,000 volts, or something, 200 million volts of Mario or whatever it is, and a Kikinojo. So, just not ideal here for the Whitebeard player. I think you kind of just have to go for lethal, because I don't think he can survive this turn. We'll have to see what happens. Now, he does have Whitebeard, or excuse me, Whitebeard. Let me pause real quick. He's about to show his trash off. He does have Ace and the Robin. But all of the... Let him get this out of the way real quick. Here's the problem. Ace only drops by 3,000. So, okay, you'll be able to get a Kami with the Nico Robin combo. You can't get Hody Jones. You can't get Arlong. And you can't get Kikinojo. So, there's really just... Okay, he's going to swing 9 at life here. And let's see what happens. I believe he's swinging at life. Yeah, he is. He is. And no... Oh, wow. And he gets a 2K counter off the top. This game is over. He taps 3 for Zoro. Swings for 1, 2, 3, 4. Swings for 9K at life. And he has just enough to... Oh, wow, guys. Look, hang on. He had just enough to win the game because of that final counter he got. Because look at this. In hand, he only has 2 2K counters. The Yamato player does. Oh my goodness. Now, don't get me wrong. He could have gotten a 2K or a 1K counter from the top of his life. But, oh, that is so crazy, guys. The Newgate player did it exactly the way he needed to, given what he had, you know, given the cards he was dealt. That was exactly going to be enough to win the game if he had not gotten that final counter from life. And again, it could have been a 1K or a 2K counter, but still just, oh man, so close to actually winning this game. And now, I got to mention this, guys. If it were not for that Arlong, if it were not for the Arlong, I think the Whitebeard player would have actually still won this game. How crazy is that? Locking down that one attack would have taken one more counter out of the Yamato player's hand. Or he'd have been down 1 life. You guys get the point. He could have just loaded up for everything. So it's like that one card, that one Arlong locking down the leader was so massive. It basically won him the game. It basically won the Arlong player of the game. And it was well played, of course. You know, very, very good play from both players. Well, guys, that was an incredible matchup. Very interesting to see Whitebeard at the top of the tables in OP-06. And you guys know how it is in the West. Over here in the West, a lot of hardcore Whitebeard players. I mean, it's just a solid deck. It's very, very dependable. And by the way, there's another whole factor, too, I forgot to mention. The Whitebeard player even whiffed one of his searches. He whiffed one of the searches. And the Yamato player got a draw 3, trash 2 from Shirahoshi to start the game off to really set his hand up. Just really, really incredible game there, guys. Well, y'all tell me what y'all thought in the comment section below. Are you surprised to see Whitebeard up here or not? You know, we know it's a solid, consistent deck. What did you think about Yamato? Was Yamato, is this the Yamato deck you expected to see? And by the way, speaking of that, I do have that up over here. The Whitebeard deck I put in my last video, or in a... Actually, I'm not even sure when I'm going to post this video, but I believe it was my last video at the time of me posting this, where I go over the restrictions for Newgate. But this is the list, guys. This is the list that won. Check this out. This is that 4 cost 5K 2000 counter Jinbei. It's a promo card. On play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. This is a good card. It's really just a nice searchable 2K counter for Fishman. I think that's why it's so good with Kami. A 4 cost 5K is decent, but I think because that resting a one or less, Yeah, that could technically do something, right? But I think you guys see what's going on here. This isn't what won him the game. The fact that it was a 2K is what won him the game, you know, at the very end there. But very, very nice. Very good stuff here. Speaking of which, there's a lot of 2K counters in this deck, guys. 4 Satori, 4 Izo, 2 Hatchman, and 4 Jinbei. So 14 2K counters. 2 Elthors. This is a 1-cost 4K if your opponent has 2 or less life. And yeah, I mean, you guys see what's going on here. This is the 200 million volts of Mara that I was talking about earlier as well. Again, it has so many ways to just rest your opponent down. Like, okay, I'll pay 2 and rest your opponent, or rest your blocker that's a 4 or less, and I'll go up plus 3,000 on a character or leader for the turn. Then you have Hody Jones, who's resting up to 2 characters or Dawn. And notice it doesn't have a stipulation on the cost. It could be a 7 or 8 cost character if you need to get it out of the way. It doesn't matter. It can just rest it. And, by the way, I do also want to mention that this is not as bad as it sounds, the fact that you draw your top life card. Because that also turns on your Elthor and your 200 million volts of Maru. So there's a lot of synergy in what's going on there. Izo resting down to 4 cost. And yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, for the resting stuff. Excuse me, just very, very powerful. And then it has a really strong finisher in Zoro. Awesome. All right, guys, that's about it. Tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have not already. And yep, until next time, guys. Peace.